Just a few more seconds to go, but we're live. Hi, Dan. How are you today, Senor? Oh, man. Hey, Jeffrey. How are you? I'm on a little early today. I got into the shop about an hour ago, and I've been working on necks for my new Hustler series, which are all hand done. And hi, Joy. Bad Joke Guitars. Hey, how are you doing, man? And I've got a bunch more necks that I'm going to be doing this weekend or maybe just today. But I really want to get these necks together so that you guys can see them on the guitars. Okay. More to the point, so that the guitars can get done. I'm looking forward to seeing what the guitars look like and what your response to the guitars is. So far, it has been fairly positive. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys the instruments. But I was thinking about it. I woke up early this morning and I was I got on the computer and was looking at YouTube comments, and Joey asked me what I was doing, and I said I was looking at YouTube comments, and I'm like, what is it about people that most YouTube comments are like, hey, thanks for doing this, that was fun, or that looks cool, something like that. But every time I get a new group of people, it's easy for them to like stop making videos. That was one I got today. Like, is that what's going to make you happy? Is that why don't you just stop watching the video? And then that way, because my video isn't like, stampeding into your life and forcing you to watch, just stop watching. So, but the last Sunday's video was, very well viewed. Whether or not it was well received is still up for debate. But it occurred to me that the last time we did one of these shooting the breeze with the TTGs, by the way, it's time for shooting the breeze with the TTGs, and I'm the OG TTG, so let's start shooting. It occurred to me that the last one that we did was like the most overrated thing. And my original plan was going to be to do the most underrated thing, so have a little bit of, bitching and whining and belly aching, and then a little bit of, oh man, I wish this would make a comeback because it's so neat. But then I discovered people really want to bitch and whine and bellyache. So I thought, why don't we do these shooting the breeze with the TTGs where you guys can just bitch and whine and bellyache, and I'll bitch and whine and bellyache. And so that's what we're going to see what happens. Okay. So today's video is the stupid things that people do with their guitars that drive you nuts. And on the picture, the thumbnail picture, there's a bunch of little micro switches. And, my original idea was going to be splitting coils in and out of phase, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, frankly, that doesn't really drive me nuts. What really, the part about that irritates me is when people come to workshops and then want to do that, and then they never actually use it. So I don't know if you're one of those guys who switches around back and forth, and I have actually come to terms with in and out of phase, especially when you tune down a full step. I actually like out of phase pickups, but I got to thinking, I'm like, hey, let's do one of those things where we, okay, wait a minute. I already said, let's bitch, whine, and belly. So then I thought the thing that really bothers me as a guitar maker is when other people who want to become guitar makers use this phrase after they ding their guitar or booger it up. They go, oh, well, I guess I'll just make it a Relic. Now, my opinion about Relic guitars is not a secret, and I haven't really acquiesced on that. But what I will tell you is that I've met a lot of people who do Relic instruments, And it takes a lot of skill to make something that's not old look aged. Okay. So what guys like my buddy Carlos Lopez don't do is build a brand new guitar and then ding it accidentally and go, oh, well, I guess I'll just make it a relic. They plan from the beginning that it's going to have, I'm gonna use the words artificial aging, not because it's a bad thing, but because that's what it is. It's adding aging to instruments. Now, I don't have a problem, like I say, with that. What I have a real problem with is when somebody through carelessness chips their guitar or dings the guitar that they're working on. Who is calling me? And boogers up their guitar, and then says, oh, well, I guess I'll make it a relic, as if to say relicing an instrument is something that is an afterthought. Okay, so that's mine. And that's just kind of a personal thing. As a guitar maker, I strive to build the best instruments that I can. And I hold myself to a standard that in many ways is probably unrealistic. I saw a video, speaking of this, I saw a video a guy did, like, it was like what your guitar brand says about you. And then it was, if you like boutique instruments, you don't mind having a bunch of scratches and dings on a brand new expensive guitar. And I thought, what boutique instruments are you looking at, dude? So anyway, I really do. I try to hold myself to a different level of craftsmanship, or to a level of craftsmanship that is often unattainable. And that's something that I wrestle with all the time. So when someone makes a flip comment about, oh, well, I guess I'll just make it a relic, that pisses me off. And it probably shouldn't, but it does. So what pisses you guys off? Let's go to the comment section and see what's happening. Zed is here. Gary is here. Hey, Gary. Hey, Zed. Joy says, it still amazes me the negative things that nameless, faceless people think they can say on a free forum where they don't have to spend any time at all. Weird. It is weird. Dan says the worst has to be relicing a new guitar. Dan, I agree with you, and I disagree with you. I think that if your original design includes aging something, then I'm okay with it. I don't want to do it, but I'm okay with it. Jeffrey Egan says, not a fan of new relic guitars. Guitars that are worn from playing look cool. And you are absolutely right, Jeffrey. I think that authentic playing wear looks really neat, and oftentimes relicing comes close, but I don't think that it's I don't think it's exactly the same thing. Rod up there in Alaska, Rod, are you supposed to be working right now, or are you taking today off? Says, I'm forced to watch. Rod, I am forcing you to watch, Rodney, and thank you for watching, even though I'm forcing you to watch. I miss Rod. I want Rod to come back. Rod's so far away. I would like to one day. Okay, you guys might not know this, but I used to go hunting like every year. I was never particularly good at it. I think Rod is really good at it. And also, I don't like to be cold. So going to Alaska and hunting with Rod would be one of those things where I'm like, wow, I am not very good at this and I'm cold, but I still want to do it. I don't know why. I don't know if I'll ever actually get a chance to do that, but part of some weird part of my brain would like to do that because I like Rod. Dan and says that everyone feels sorry for Rod. Michael says artificial aging unless trying to recreate a specific instrument. You know, remember a while back, there was before EVH was a brand, there was a guy who made like 25 exact replicas of the Eddie Van Halen's famous Frankenstrat. And like down to like the quarters had to be from Delaware and they had to be a specific year and stuff. You guys probably know more about it than I do, but man, they looked so good that Eddie Van Halen himself was like, I can't believe this is like, you did this from a picture. That's pretty neat. I also feel like sometimes when you're rescuing a guitar, let's say you're rescuing a guitar that's a body, it's an old body, but the neck is gone, or the neck has, let's say it's like a Fender Strat, because that's easy to talk about. Let's say you have a cool old Strat body and it's got some playing wear, and because it's old, you know what I mean? It's from it's from back in the day. But the neck got a warp in it or a twist in it or something. The neck's not playable. So you say, well, I want to make a neck for this, but I don't want it to look like it's got like a brand new neck on it for whatever reason. So I want to try to match I want the neck to look original. I think that's a cool thing. Or if I have a neck and all these parts, but I don't have the body, or the body got stripped of paint and I want to repaint it so that it looks right. I don't want to have like brand new paint on the body, but the neck and the parts are all aged. So I want to age the body a little bit. I think that's cool. Zed says, my biggest beef is people who take fretted basses and make them fretless by removing the frets. Zed, I have done that. In fact, one of my very first half fretted, half fretless basses was exactly that. And it was a Samick 5-string, and I did it for a buddy of mine. And we backfilled in the frets with stuff. But okay, I get it. I totally get it. If that bugs you, then yeah, rock on. We're here to bitch, whine, and bellyache, right? So Alaris Moon says that only shows you that any asshole can copy a guitar, especially from pictures. That is how Fender did it. I don't know if you're talking about the guy who made the good copies of. Okay, yeah. There's a lot more horses' asses than there are horses, as my grandfather used to say. So anyway, well, was there anything else besides Relic guitars that irritates you guys? Clearly, adding switches, taking a 4-string bass and making it an 8-string bass, or taking a 12-string guitar and cutting the headstock down to 6. I don't know. I'm grabbing at straws here. None of that stuff bugs you guys, I guess. Okay. Well, cool. What else you guys got for me? I probably should have thought this through a little bit better. I thought you guys would have a lot more stuff to say, but well, I guess that is going to wrap it up, guys. I think that this weekend's video is going to be another one where I challenge the youngsters on the internet to send me hate mail, because I think it's funny. And I think that if I make a title that confuses people and then make a video where I'm having fun doing the video, like I did in the last one, I don't know how anybody could be upset or butthurt about that, but there was butthurt and there was upset. So my Sunday video is going to be something very much like that, about something that I think young people can relate to, and people who are getting up there in age like me can relate to the opposite part of. And I will, you guys will know more about that on Sunday. Okay, let's see what else here. Solaris Moon says 8-string guitars and fretless ones too. I don't know what that means, but okay. Michael says extreme number of strings, 8-string guitars. I guess that irritates you. Jeffrey says, I don't care for adding effects on a guitar and circuit boards. You mean like Devo used to do, where they would like tape distortion pedals and delays to their guitars? I thought that was funny. Dan says, bugs me when people buy a cheap guitar to fix it how you want it. Just save a little longer. Yeah, Dan, sometimes the journey is the fun part. And I don't do it with guitars anymore, but I still do it with some other stuff. The problem with a lot of that for me is that many of those projects never come to fruition. They never get finished. So I buy this cheap thing. I buy this less expensive thing thinking I'm going to fix it all up. I'm going to do all this stuff. And I kind of get in over my head. I'm not talking about guitars here. And then I go, oh, I'll just come back to it later. Okay. And then I never do. And then it just sort of languishes and returns to the earth slowly. But yeah, I think that sometimes a project is fun and sometimes it's just extra work that would have been easier, especially if you don't finish it. It would have been easier to just save up and buy the thing that you wanted. Solaris Moon says, I hate copies of famous guitars, but aren't exact copies, just reproductions to get by. Yeah, man. A guy sent me a thing the other day. I talked about it yesterday. A guy sent me a deal. He wanted me to reproduce a Gibson RD. And I don't know. He kept talking to me. And then and then when I'm like, well, do you want me to send you an invoice? Then he stopped talking to me. He wanted basically something that you can just buy from Gibson, only he wanted it in a different color paint. And at one point I said, it might not be a bad idea to just buy the thing from Gibson and have it repainted. Because for me to make a man's got to know his limitations. I know for a fact that one, I would not want to make an exact copy of a Gibson anything, much less an RD. Unless the money was really, really good. And in that case, why? I mean, it's not like Gibson they reintroduced this RD, just buy that one and paint it gold. Which is what this guy wanted. And he might still do that. I don't know. But yeah, if he ever gets back to me and says, hey, yes, send me that invoice, it's probably going to be for as much, if not more, than just buying the Gibson and painting it gold. And at the end of the day, it's still not going to say Gibson on it. Okay. Doug Seidlet says, agree with Jeffrey, a Fender Acoustasonic has the pots right on the circuit board. Drop it, the knobs, and you are screwed. Solaris Moon, who I still don't know Solaris Moon's actual name, but he is, I guess, a guitar builder and likes to come on and tell me about all the guitars that he is building, but never has told me his actual name or what his website looks like, so I can't look up his guitars to see them. I also hate Fender making 7 different versions of Strats, Tellys, Jazzmaster, and the like. Well, yeah, it's that price point thing, I guess. I guess they're trying to accommodate every different price, or maybe they're trying to sell all kinds of, there's the guy from some metal guy who has a Jazzmaster with an EMG pickup and a hardtail bridge, something like that. Zed says, and another thing that bothers me. Now we're getting down to the meat and potatoes. I love that. I love that you guys are bitching, whining, and belly aching. Thanks for picking up the ball and running with it. Another thing that bothers me is when a guitar has a nice top and they cover it almost half of it with a cheap piece of plastic pick guard. Yeah, man. Or you know why they cover it with a cheap piece of plastic too, Zed? You already know this, but because they cut a big hole in it, for the pickups to all drop in. The most famous, again, we're back at that Fender Strat. The most famous guitar with a great big hole in the top of it is the Fender Strat, so they can cover it with a piece of pick guard. And one of the most genius designs, of course, has got to be the Fender Strat. But if you have a real nice piece of wood, I would think that rear routing would be the way to go. Solaris Moon says, my real name is Chris. I can send pictures through email if possible. Well, okay. Nothing stopping you but air and opportunity, brother. Lefty says, when a Gibson has a nice top and they cover 80% of it with too much burst. Ooh, that's a good one, Lefty. Gibson's bursts are not my favorite. I don't like the teardrop burst so much. I tell you what, a really lousy sunburst, or what I would call like a target burst, not a fan. I am not a fan of that stuff. I like a sunburst to actually have a lot of fade in it so you can see everything. Well, here's one that I like right here. That's the kind of sunburst that I like. I don't like real dark. I guess there's a spot for it. I like tobacco burst, so I guess I do like that. But anyway, hey, guys, I'm supposed to remind you before we call it a day here that Texas Toast has a brand new social media outlet, and it is TikTok. We are up on TikTok right now. I don't know if you got, I haven't figured out how to use TikTok yet. So Joy is doing all the ticking and talking. So that there's no like things of me dancing or doing, whatever. But we're on there, and there's a video of Greg Koch playing this Challenger. There's some other cool stuff that's up there, and if you know how to work TikTok, why don't you go over there and check it out and see what's going on, and maybe follow us or like us or what. I don't know how all that crap works. Okay. But check out TikTok and check out Texas Toast on TikTok. Brad says, totally hate the big Gibson teardrop burst. Chris does the best burst. Actually, Brad, everything that Chris knows about sunbursting, I taught him. No, he doesn't. I'm just fooling with you. But you might be surprised every so often Matt will do a burst and you don't even know it's mine. But yeah, Chris does a very, very good job. Chris Solaris Moon says, clownburst guitars, much like the one on that Fender is making, calling it the people pleaser Strat. Boy, that's a rough one. If you call something the people pleaser and it doesn't please the people, then yeah, that's a bummer. The reddish teardrop is bad. Yeah, that clownburst one is pretty rough. Artist model that doesn't match what the artist actually plays. Which one is that, Michael? I mean, you got like an example? Way Ninja says, I watch TikToks on Facebook like an adult. Okay, cool. I don't know how you do that. I don't know. I guess I'm not adulting right, which should come as no surprise to anybody. Rex Brown Thunderbird is what Michael. Is that the guy from Pantera? Rex Brown? I don't know. Joy wants me to remind you guys TikTok, and Brad says that he barely knows how to do Insta, whatever that is, Instagram. Way cool ninja. Haha, I'm that old. Solaris Moon, TikTok's guitars, Texas Toast guitar. Yeah. So Joy, I think that the 26, 28 people watching here are probably so old that we're all retired and we don't even know from TikTok. So we should probably talk about this in the other videos too, especially when I call out young people and maybe they'll watch us on TikTok. But yeah, check us out. It's how you tell when a social media platform is not cool anymore is when your grandma's on it. So I think anyway. Okay. Let's see. A few more to go. Dan says he struggles with Facebook. Joy says just helps us out. That's all. Yeah. So that's the thing. Instead of whining and belly aching about how you don't know how to use TikTok, figure it out. You guys are fully operational Americans in the prime of your life. So yeah, go do it. Make some moves. We're trying to spread the word about the guitar shop, and the guitar channel is really a way to help us spread the word about that stuff. So anyway, gang, I think that's enough for today. We will see you Sunday. I've got a bunch of work to do. So we will talk to you this weekend. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great day, everybody, and have a great weekend. We will see you Sunday.